Hello everyone, Allie Wolf, the Chief Economist with Meyers Research, here to unpack the August non-farm payrolls report that came out this morning. Going into this report, we said we wanted to see about 1.5 million jobs added. If we saw that, then we felt good that the recovery was continuing on course. And indeed, we added 1.4 million. So we'll say that's close enough to 1.5 million, still seeing some strength on the labor front. Overall now, we have recovered 50% of the jobs that were lost in March and April. Now, while that's great, we do have some risks that we'll hit on a little bit later that we did uncover in this report. So let's start top level though, because last month the unemployment rate was 10.2%, at least the headline number was. Today, the headline number came out at 8.4%. There still was the coding error that would push that closer to 9, but let's say that's great because that is moving in the right direction. Not only that, but the U6, which looks at the all-in unemployment rate, came down considerably. And that was because people that were working part-time for economic reasons dropped by nearly 900,000. So that's a step in the right direction. We are still off by about 3.3 million compared to February of people that would love to be working full-time, but they just can't find a job. But at least the trend is the right way. We also saw improvements on both sides of the spectrum. We saw those that do not have a high school diploma, their unemployment rate came down to 12.6%, compared to those with a bachelor's degree plus, the unemployment rate now down to 5.3% for the month of August. Now, when you look at the breakout, this is where the data gets a little bit more dicey. So we see government was the largest share of all the jobs added, followed by trade, transportation, and utilities, and professional business services. The reason I say this gets a little dicey is because if you break out those components, you can see that 20% of all of the jobs added, of all of those 1.4 million, came from those temporary workers that are getting hired right now to go out and collect census data. So those jobs are here and they will end up getting pulled away. But at least for now, in a time that the economy is still in a pretty bad shape, at least we have these jobs that are able to fill the gap of those that are looking for overall employment. Permanent job losers. This was the number one thing we wanted to watch. A while back, we were at 1.5 million of all the jobs that were permanently laid off. Then it jumped to 3 million in June and then stayed flat in July, and that was good news. We did see in this report a sizable uptick in people that are now permanently unemployed. That has gone to 3.4 million. That is higher than anything we've seen so far this cycle and at the highest level since 2013. Two things to note though. The first is that we're half the level during the worst time during the Great Financial Crisis. On the other side of the coin, we have hit 3.4 million in about 6 months compared to about 10 to 11 months during the Great Financial Crisis. So the permanent job losses are hitting quicker. We hope that they plateau, they don't continue to grow, but I think we should expect to see that as it takes a little bit longer for the economy to recover, we will see those permanent job losses continue to tick up. What does it mean? Well, there are a few things that you can take away from this report. And the first is that we're looking at this data through the middle of August. That's the way the Bureau of Labor Statistics collects it. Since then, I'm sure a lot of you have seen American Airlines is cutting jobs, Salesforce, Ford, MGM. So we've seen since this data was collected, some of the job losses starting to filter and starting to hit other sectors. Of course, there are some companies that are adding jobs at the same time, which is the beauty of this report compared to initial jobless claims is that it looks at net. But there was also an interview this morning with Larry Kudlow from the White House who said he thinks that we're now on a self-sustaining recovery. There's still a push in Washington to get some money to small businesses, but I think this report gives a little bit of hope to policymakers that, hey, maybe we don't need to do a big stimulus package. And hopefully they're right, and hopefully the economy is self-sustaining. But because this report doesn't capture that there still have been a lot of job losses since, it does tell us that there are still some risks remaining. So with that, I will sign off for now. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you soon.